Welcome to the Why Did I Get Cancer podcast. I'm Deborah Herlax-Enos, a small-town girl turned TV nutritionist and healthy living expert. I design health programs for the average guy or gal, including those average guys named Metallica. On September 1st, 2020, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I asked every oncologist the same question, why did I get cancer? But none of my doctors had good answers for me. I wanted answers, and that's why I started this podcast. I want to help you to lower your cancer risk and provide self-care tips for those in the battle. I'm getting answers, and I want to share them with you. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 2025 and my first solo episode of the year, where I just want to tell you some of my big takeaways from 2024. I always like to do my kind of year end of the things that I learned that I wish I would have known many, many years ago. And I have a few. And I would say that there were some real highs in 2024 and some real lows. One of the lows was my mom getting really, really sick and almost passing away in July and August. And I'm just so grateful to still have a mom, and my heart goes out to those that don't. And we came really close. And so I enter 2025 with gratitude. And anytime my day starts to go a little bit wonky, I just reflect on how grateful I am that my mom is doing well. She's had a really great recovery, and that I still get to talk to her every day. And that's a real blessing in my life. So just so you know, I, like many of you, I had a year of ups and downs, and yeah, but I'm going to go with up because up is just better, and I'm happier and full of joy as long as I stay based in gratitude. That's where it makes all the difference for me. So let's kind of move into my big takeaways from 2024. I would say that, and this is based on a lot of conversations with podcast guests, is I have really started to prioritize three things. I prioritize my sleep, I prioritize my morning routine, and I prioritize taking better care of myself. So let's unpack that a little bit. So the average American is probably getting less than 6.5 hours of sleep. Once that is happening, your body is under constant stress and constant attack. So you're going to have higher levels of inflammation. You're going to have more cells that are going to be going rogue and turning into bad cells, which could end up being a cancer cell, or things that are happening that are going to cause, a higher risk of Alzheimer's or diabetes, heart disease, you name it. So I've decided to really prioritize sleep. So the big question, how am I doing this? Well, my husband and I, we do enjoy watching TV at night. We like NCIS. We like shows. And we will watch TV up until we go to bed. We might not watch it for long, but it's maybe 45 minutes to an hour. And we will watch it all the way until we go to bed. And I have to tell you, I have realized that is not good for me, because what happens is it's really bright light, and I know that I'm light sensitive. So that kind of gets my adrenaline and my cortisol, those stress hormones, it kind of gets them going. So my mind is more active. I'm seeing these bright lights, and it's just making me more active in general. And so then I get into bed, and then I feel like I actually have a burst of energy, which is not what I want at 10 o'clock at night. So here's one of the ways I'm prioritizing is, if we do decide to watch a show, we will keep it short. We'll keep it not too gory. So I sometimes have to miss the first few minutes of NCIS because it can be a little gory. But then before bed, like an hour before bed, I'll really start on this nighttime routine. So it means that no more screens for me. So if I'm using my phone as an alarm, I set that well before bed. It means no bright lights in my house, so turning the lights down low, wearing blue light blockers, and really just calming my system down before I get into bed. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm really focusing on doing a good job with breathing and really focusing on deeper breaths. I do a lot of different techniques. I'll tag all of them in the show notes. Box breathing. Sometimes I just put my hand on my stomach, and when I inhale, my hand pushes out. When I exhale, it flattens. And that's probably the most simple way of all to really help your blood pressure to go down, your body to stop making stress hormones, and to just kind of calm your mind down. The other things that I'm doing to prioritize sleep is making our house cooler at night. Research has shown that having a house that's around 68 degrees or cooler will actually help you get into deeper sleep and stay asleep longer. I wear an eye mask, and that also helps, especially in the summers here in Washington where it's light until 10:30 at night. That also really helps. So really prioritizing sleep. And then also, my husband and I, we work together, and sometimes he'll ask me questions as we're getting into bed. Did you pay these taxes? Did you do this? Did you? And I've had to say to him, I can't talk about any work stuff after 6 o'clock at night. I just have to be done, because I'm that person that even though I know I paid the taxes, my mind starts racing like, oh my gosh, did I actually pay the taxes? Then I have to get out of bed, pull out our business checkbook, and go online. And I don't want to do that anymore. So part of it too is also boundaries, is to say to my husband, hey, just so you know, I won't be able to answer any questions that are work related after 6 o'clock at night. So if he forgets and he does ask me a question, I'll just say to him, sure, babe, I will check on that when I'm back in the office at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, but I'm not going to do it now. And he's cool with it. And I'm really happy that my brain is not going a mile a minute 15 minutes before I go to bed. So I've really prioritized sleep. I'm going to sleep a lot faster now, which is new for me. I'm staying asleep longer, and I wake up a lot more refreshed. And you guys also know that I have the grounding sheets, which I started using those about 3 months ago. And those have been also big time game changer. Grounding sheets. I wish I would have known about those years and years ago, but I know about it now. So I'm doing it now. Okay, prioritizing my morning routine. I follow a lot of health people on Instagram, and they talk about this a lot. And I started doing this probably a couple of years ago, where I really protected my time first thing in the morning. And what I mean by protected is I don't schedule 7 a.m. phone calls. I don't schedule an appointment at 8 o'clock in the morning unless I absolutely have to. But for the most part, I can get up. I can spend time in prayer. I can spend time with the Lord. I can have my coffee. I can do my grounding. And that really sets me up to have the most amazing day. And I can absolutely tell now, when I haven't prioritized my morning, my day just goes haywire. And I feel like I almost attract more negativity into my life if I haven't given myself the gift of a prioritized morning. So again, I'll get up. I spend time listening to the Bible recap, listening to some really great instrumental Christian music, something that just really puts me in a posture of gratitude. And that really makes a big difference. I'll have a big glass of water. Then I have my coffee. I go outside. Again, all of these things really set me up to just have such a better afternoon and evening. So that's one of my new things for 2024 that I'm happily taking into 2025. I have super dry skin. It's something that runs in my family. My dad had super dry skin. And then what I'm finding is the older I'm getting, especially with menopause, and I'm 60 now. Oh my gosh, eek, how did that happen? My skin just continues to get dry. I do a fair amount of fish oil, and I eat a fair amount of salmon, and that seems to help. So I am a huge fan of this company, Body Deli, and it's in the Coachella Valley, Southern California, and they grow their own produce and turn it into amazing facial products. So let me show you the two products that I use that have really helped my dry skin. First of all, I use this vitamin C serum. I mean, again, they actually grow produce to make this. And if you're listening to this podcast, not watching, I'm so sorry, but look at how bright yellow that is. You can smell the citrus when you're putting it on your skin. It absorbs really, really well. And also, I got to tell you, I've never received compliments on my skin. And since I started using Body Deli, I actually do get compliments, which I love. So I put this on, usually sometimes I do it twice a day, morning and night. And then on top of that, there goes this Phoenix Lift Oil. It's face and neck. And, neck is not pretty sometimes as we're getting older. And again, my skin is just so dry. This absorbs, and I get compliments on my skin. As I said, all the time. It's moist and it looks pretty darn good, if I do say so myself, for 60. So I put the Phoenix oil on twice a day. And I feel like it's actually made a pretty good difference in my skin. So if you go to bodyjelly.com and use the code ENOS15, you can get 15% off of your purchase. I'm grateful to the Body Deli, not only for making such a great product, but they don't give those codes out to just anybody. So I am so happy that they have blessed me and my community with this 15% off coupon. So again, go to bodyjelly.com, use the code ENOS15, get 15% off of your purchase. I know you're going to love it. And the third thing I'm prioritizing is me time. And yes, I know that I can do that because I'm an empty nester. So for those of you who have young kids, that's going to be a little bit tougher. But what I mean by prioritizing me time is I say no a lot more often, and that feels pretty good. I don't want to be not participating in life and not seeing friends and things like that. I try to always say yes to those things. But I used to have maybe a lot of shoulds in my life. Oh, I should volunteer for that, and I should, go over and do this, and I should do a better, whatever, lots of shoulding on myself. So what I do now is I look at my day, I look at my morning list, and if I can't fit one more thing in where I have some margin of free time, I say no. And I did feel guilty in the beginning, and now I just don't feel guilty anymore, because the best version of myself is a blessing to me. It's a blessing to my husband, to our kids, and all of my friends and all my community on this podcast. So I want to bring my best self to life every day. And for me, that involves pushing the pause button and having a little more margin in my day. And what I mean by margin is I can't rush from thing to thing to thing anymore. I did that for 30 years with my nutrition practice, running in between clients and, seeing people all over, driving to appointments. And it would just wear me out at the end of the day. And I would have to kind of take the whole weekend off to just kind of regroup. And I just don't want to do that anymore. I think there's a better way for me to be with people, and there's a better way for me to be in business and to be a blessing to my friends and family and my church. And so that means pressing the pause button, having a little more margin, and being okay with saying no. Okay, there's two more things that I have really taken to heart from 2024. And, being a nutritionist and, I also have a degree in minor in exercise physiology. So I was a nutritionist and personal trainer and owned a business and had lots of clients. And I would spend my day trying to convince people to be healthy. I'd try to convince them that my way was the right way, and my version of your exercise routine, it needed to be this way. And same thing with food. And of course, that's what people were hiring me to do for them, is to give them the best nutrition and the next best exercise program possible. But I will tell you that I worked really hard to convince people to do things a certain way. And that is not a healthy outlook and attitude. And you can take this into all aspects of life. I'm trying to convince somebody to vote a certain way. I'm trying to convince somebody to feel a certain way about an issue or a TV show or a movie. And I have to tell you, I never thought I'd be quoting Keanu Reeves on my podcast, but let me just tell you this quote. Keanu Reeves once said, "I'm at that stage in life where I stay out of discussions. If you say 1 + 1 = 5, you're right. Have fun with that." That really spoke to me, because I have spent a good amount of my life trying to convince people about doing things my way. And you know what I got to say? That is exhausting. It's an exhausting way to live. So my new outlook is I want to do the absolute best job that I can. I read research, I interview experts, and I want to give you the best information possible. But it's really not my job to convince you. I just want you to be healthy and I want to help you with that. But at the end of the day, your life is really completely up to you. Your choices are completely up to you. And that's a real gift. I like to think that I'm giving my family and friends in 2025 is I'm not going to debate you and I'm not going to battle you. It's a real gift to just let people have their own process. We're ready when we're ready. And there are things people suggested I try 30 years ago. And I just didn't have time or I wasn't ready or, fill in the blank. But maybe today, again, fast forward 30 years later, I'm doing some of those things. And I think, darn it, why didn't I start doing X 30 years ago when somebody first told me about it? And you know what? The reality is I didn't. So get over it. But I'm doing it now. And there are many times in life that somebody presents us with, hey, don't forget to, fund your 401k or, eat more vegetables or, whatever, try to save more money in an interest bearing account. And we haven't done it, but you're ready when you're ready. And you can't convince anybody that they're ready. It's really an internal job for them. So giving people that gift of, hey, just, here's the information, do what you want with it is, I think, a really peaceful place for me and the right move for me in 2025. And my final comment, and this kind of dovetails with you're ready when you're ready, and it's an inside job when you're ready, is doctors don't make you well. Teachers don't make you smart. Coaches don't make you rich. It's an inside job and you're ready when you're ready. So doctors are not going to say, hey, take this pill and you're going to be 100% healthy. What happens is, maybe there's some medications that can really help you and manage diabetes or manage your high blood pressure, but it's an inside job. Exercise, moving your lymphatic fluid, eating differently, staying hydrated. You set your body up into a position so that it can heal. And I think about my conversation with Dr. Stephen Hussey in 2024, and he was talking about so many of the things that I'm prioritizing in my morning. Get up, drink a glass of water, go outside, look toward the sunrise. All of these things put your body in a position for healing. And that's what I'm really all about in 2025. And hey, none of this is fast. And we are a microwave society where we stand in front of the microwave tapping our foot because we want things to be done faster. But all of these things, all of these lessons come to us when we are ready for them. And that is a slow process. And just like healing our bodies, I think back when I had GERD in 2019, I had to completely change my diet, my lifestyle. I had to sleep on a wedge. I practically had to sleep in a recliner chair to kind of help my esophagus to heal. And it took a while. And there wasn't a pill that was going to heal my esophagus overnight. It took 6 to 8 months of me being diligent. Let's say 80% of the time. I wasn't perfect, but being diligent. So those changes do come slowly, but those changes do come. But again, the key for me is to set my body up into a position where it can heal best. And that goes back to the beginning of this podcast, prioritizing sleep, prioritizing my morning routine, and prioritizing me. And we so often hear on an airplane, put your own oxygen mask on first. I've quoted that 100 times. But in 2024 and moving into 2025, I really get it. And to bring my best self into anybody else's life, I have to take care of me first. And I'm really enjoying it. I'll do my little spa nights, put on my facial mask, and you know what? It's just great. And I haven't really done these things before. So I'm grateful you're here. I'm grateful for your support. I thank you so much for listening to this podcast and really allowing me to speak into your life. But I have to tell you, I feel like God has just given me such crazy supernatural favor with all of the guests that I have had on this podcast. When I started 4 years ago, I was just this teeny tiny little podcast with the only person that was probably listening was my husband and a bunch of girlfriends. But the level of guests who have come on this podcast and shared their wisdom humbles me to this day. So I'm just really grateful that you've hung in there with me. And I look forward to sharing some more life lessons with you in 2025. So thanks again for listening. Happy 2025, everybody, and happy healthier eating in 2025. And, it's the time of year where everybody says, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. So let's make it simple. And one of my goals in 2025 is to eat more fish. There's a lot of reasons for that. Higher levels of anti-inflammatory nutrients, including a lot of really good omega-3 fatty acids. I had never really been a good fish preparer at home. So I would usually just eat fish when I go to a restaurant. But I got to tell you, I have got a wonderful salmon recipe that I got from a chef. I'm going to tag it in the show notes. But here's the other thing is I want to eat wild caught Alaskan salmon. And it's not easy to find. And then what I also discovered is that wild Alaskan salmon in supermarkets is double frozen. So it's frozen on the ship when it's caught, and then it's defrosted, and then it's frozen again. When I found that out, I was really upset and irritated because when you freeze and unfreeze, the nutrient content is going to change. So I asked my contacts at ButcherBox, they freeze the fish one time. What that means is it's going to be a higher nutrient content and the texture is going to be better when you cook it. So I think maybe I'll just blame my bad fishing techniques, my bad cooking of the fish techniques on the fact that it was frozen twice. So can I just do that? But anyway, back to ButcherBox. In my show notes, you will see a great deal from ButcherBox for my community. And what it is it's $20 off of your first box, but it's free wild Alaskan sockeye salmon for a year in every box. And it's a $422 value. So I get free fish for a year. It's over a $400 value. That's a pretty amazing thing. So if you go to butcherbox.com/Enos, you're going to see this great deal. It's probably not going to last very long because that is a lot of free fish to be giving away. So again, my New Year's resolution, which I don't make very often, is to eat more fish in 2025. I'm trying to do this twice a week, so come and join me. Hey, y'all, can you do me a favor today and go and leave a review of this podcast? I know that the more great reviews, wink, wink, emphasis on great, reviews that I get, along with more downloads and more subscribers, that pushes this podcast out to people who might normally not even find it. And the reason I started this podcast and my real heart for starting this podcast is that I needed this information. It wasn't available. And so I started a podcast so that I could be a blessing to others. So you're a blessing to me just by being here. And again, thank you for your support. Thank you for your positive reviews and all of the notes that you send me. And also just wanted to say, hey, keep in mind, I'm not a doctor. And if you need medical advice, please reach out to your team. That is going to be just the best source for you because they know you. So again, I hope you enjoy this podcast.